Gaelic Falcha Road Arash Go Shisher Den DL Debate. So 1,000 welcomes to everyone to the new season of the DL Debate. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks of course there to Donegal for the news, Ivan Borland for the Power Hour Plus. What a gent Ivan is. Always great to catch up with him when you come up here on the Monday evening. We have the main man himself, Joe Dex. He is of course a top DJ and of course good voiceover man. Know what I mean, Shem? That's how he talks normally, but he's got a special voiceover voice. You hear him there. That's the sound of Brendan Kilcoyne in the background there. We're going to tune in with Ryan Ferry here shortly as well. Folks, first of all, I just want to thank Sister Sara's for coming on board this year, season 6 of the DL Debate. Thanks everyone for who contributed up into this year. And listen, if there's anything like last year, we're in for some serious thrills and spills. But again, I want to really thank Kieran Brogan and all down Michael and all the crew at Sister Sara's for their ongoing sponsorship. They were there from the start. They helped the show get off the ground, and here we are 6 years later. It's going from strength to strength. So whether it be a football match for a few beers or you want to head out for a bite to eat, there's nowhere better than Sister Sara's. Maybe a wee romantic evening. Pauline tells me you're quite romantic there, Brendan. Maybe
I can be at times, Brendan.
Yeah, listen, I like that you admit it. Don't hide from it.
No.
We have another man on the line. The Ryan line. Some of you will remember what the Ryan line was. We have one now direct to the one and only Ryan Ferry. Ryan, you hearing us?
Sure am, Brendan. I am indeed.
Do you remember who the Ryan line was?
I do now, like probably a wee bit before my time, but I know who you're on about, all right.
Yeah, the old 2FM slot, Brendan. You would have been.
I remember it well tuned in, yeah. Good old Jerry Ryan.
Jerry boy, he was a character, wasn't he? Folks, yeah, listen, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to kick off the show with the two lads. Later on, we're going to hear from Michael McMullan. We're going to do a bit of a preview into the National Leagues. And then Brendan's going to stay with us. And then I'm going to chat to Niall Cleary, a Setanta man, former county star, now involved actually with the Derry, coaching for the Derry County Hurlers. Of course, they beat Donegal with a last-minute goal in the McGurk Cup at the weekend. So Niall's going to be on later in the show. But first of all, we're kicking off here. Brendan, you know, people were worried about a wee bit of maybe an All-Ireland hangover. It certainly doesn't look that way. And very exciting McKenna Cup for Donegal. And everybody, what about the McKenna Cup? What does it matter? You know, but the way Donegal have acted in it with the new players they've unearthed, it's really looked good in terms of coming into this new season.
Oh, certainly, Brendan, yeah. And you can only imagine that Jim McGuinness and his management team be really happy with the way it transpired over the last 3 games in the space of 6 days. Was fairly heavy going, but the amount of time that he got into, various players across, and you're talking about the young fellas coming through there, and that was really pleasing. Like, they can be really happy with the way they performed over the 3 days, so they can have that, there's no doubt. But also getting key minutes into, some of the more experienced players. For me, big Jason McGee back in the middle of the park is huge for Donegal, to have him fit and firing and playing well. And obviously Hugh McFadden is driving the whole thing forward, he is with the usual enthusiasm. And another big positive for me, Brendan, was Gavin Mulroney's form over the 3 games. I was very, very impressed with him. He was probably the only player I think that played the full 360s, so he was. And I thought he was very good over the 3 games.
Kicking. He's phenomenal. Every time I see him for Donegal or for St. Knowles, he's deadly from the ground too, isn't he?
He's super kick. You feel very confident standing over any ball 45 yards out that he's going to knock it over. He got 2 on Saturday evening, and unlucky to hit the upright with another one. I put the commentators cursing him then with the last one, and with the last one he hit. But yeah, the young fellas coming through have been fantastic. Like Turlock Carr playing 11 centre half forward. Just, I love the way he demands the ball. He just wants that ball to be on the ball all the time, playing with the head up, looking to see if there's anything on. And we were chatting it off air, Brendan, last night, kind of thing about, hitting ball into the full forward line. He wants to do that all the time, but it's not that simple, so it isn't to get them kind of balls in. But anytime he tried it, it was fairly good. And Max Campbell, of course, Shame alone, 2-1 and Saturday night, just plays with such confidence and freedom, so he does, so huge positives from Donegal. I think 2 big Kieran Gallagher, can be happy with his week's input. Didn't go probably to plan for him on Wednesday night against Derry, but thought he did really well on Saturday again. And we know the importance of having big men around that middle third, Brendan, for kickouts, and so his continued development will be interesting to see. And a lot of these players now can go into the National League with a lot of confidence under their belt that they have competed. Now, listen, it's early days, Brendan. There's a lot more to go on, so there is, but from what we've seen, it's been very encouraging.
Yeah. And Ryan, just on that, I suppose year 1 to year 2, Jim, obviously we had the man, the myth, the legend, Michael Murphy back. Of course, we had Finbar Rorty, who was going to be, All-Star Young Footballer of the Year. I mean, serious injection in, but it was fairly similar outside of that, a lot of the main protagonists. But, just looking at this, Ryan, and as Brendan was saying, I know it's a McKenna Cup, but these young lads that have come in, along with everyone who played well for their clubs in the Championship, they look like, and I know a lot of them have played maybe underage county and that as well, and have been in the midst of big games and high end and high I suppose intensity games, but they really look like they're good to go as soon as they've come in, Ryan. So it's going to give Jim a load of options on the back of this McKenna Cup one.
Yeah, definitely. I think probably the surprise is just how well some of them have settled in, Bren. Like, when you think of the likes of Max and Turlacar and Conor McCall, like they're under 20 for this season and for next season as well. Like, so like there's very few 19-year-olds that are and most of them are 18 at the minute and coming 19. There's very few throughout the country, that are getting the opportunity, and maybe teams are a wee bit reluctant to give them the opportunity when, if they've got the football smarts for it, maybe they should be put in a wee bit earlier. It's like, I think you do have to, you can't get too carried away. I think if you look back on the McKenna Cup 2 years ago, there were players tried and played in the first few games in the league and then maybe drifted away later in the year. The same thing will probably happen again. I think he said, that he's looking for one or two or maybe three players that can add value later in the Championship when hopefully everybody else is back in it. But like, I definitely think he's got a lot of food for thought with how these players have come in and applied themselves. And Brendan touched on Turlacar, there's been a lot of talk about Donegal don't kick the ball enough. Well, you certainly couldn't say that about Turlacar, because he loves kicking the ball, and it's been a tonic over the last week to see it. And there's a lot of the young players have really adapted. As Paul O'Hare's a wee bit older. I think he's maybe 23, maybe coming 24 this year. He looked the part in the defence as well. So yeah, I think so far, I think Donegal will be delighted with how the McKenna Cup has gone. Obviously, a big step up in Croke Park this week. Maybe we'll know a wee bit more 7 days' time. But so far, so good, I would say.
Yeah, listen, totally agree. Just on that, Bryn, I'm just looking, and I mentioned you before about maybe this is my corner forward, Ed, on Owen McGeehan. So he comes on against Adam, sticks the ball in the net, right? He should have 2 goals against Derry. First one, maybe you can understand the shot. The second one, just give him the ball. He puts it in the net. There's the goals on. Just and everybody wants to score. I know that there, but really, when that option's on, I'm thinking to myself, that could really change. Has obviously completely changes his stats going into each game and the round. Obviously, you were up in Healy Park on Saturday evening, and me and you spoke. And it's interesting, Ryan, talking about Turlacar kicking the ball. The inside man, unless it is kicked in on the first kind of phase of the attack, really everything's bottled in. So we have to have that second part of our game where either we kick it in, or as I was saying to you last night, when a team gets into a low set, that we've got a tactic where everybody pulls out of the way and make sure it's obviously our corner forwards and our full forward line that is full of beans. They've got the energy because they're not been up and down the pitch. We got to release them and let them go one-on-one, because everybody is getting one-on-one opportunities now,
Yeah, but what I'm seeing, Brendan, with a lot of the kickball in, and we all want to see kickball in, so we do. And what you see a lot of the time, Brendan, is the recipient inside, if he's out in front of a man, he wins it. He nearly ends up where the kicker kicked it from. Our cornerbacks are well aware of and know that the kick is coming and get out in front, and that's a turnover, and that really doesn't sit well with management when it is kicked and it's not won by the inside. So it's very difficult to play inside in the modern game, so it is, because invariably you're getting the ball coming away from goals. So your defender is going to continue to shepherd you out and not let you cut inside. So unless you can get someone straight away off the shoulder, or free someone up to come off the shoulder, or take it, from the ball winner, from the inside ball winner, it's very, very difficult. So it is. And listen, I saw Turlock actually kick a ball. He kicked a brilliant ball into Conor McCahill. I think it was it Saturday night or Wednesday night? And Conor won it. But exactly what I'm saying, Brendan, his defender was on him. He wasn't able to turn quick enough to go at him. So invariably he ended up coming back out the field and having to play the ball around, and next thing, defence is set up and you're moving it around again, kind of thing. So it's something, Interestingly, was it on Wednesday night or was it not on Sunday? A couple of times, that 3 games in 6 days. I'm kind of confused. But Jason McGee played inside. Now, not for long, but he played inside. If you have a target man like that, and the likes of Shea or Owen McGeehan or these kind of guys playing off him, maybe something like that might work. But obviously that takes a lot of work on the training field, and Donegal aren't going to be afford to leave someone like Jason McGee in the edge of the square for a long time, and that's where you're hoping when Michael comes back that maybe we can put reins on him and maybe keep him inside, kind of thing, you know.
We need him everywhere. Ryan, what do you think about that right now? Now, I'm just thinking about developing Donegal's dangers, because we run the ball, and again, I don't want to use All-Ireland final obviously as the template, but we break the lines through that hard running, and we generally get in for 1-pointers. That's why our 2-pointers maybe weren't as high as other teams. But if a team pushes out on us into a certain zone, surely we need that. Maybe, as Brendan was saying, I know that direct ball inside, if it's travelling maybe 50 yards odd, if a player's coming very fast out, he ends up coming into the line. But if we get in around for that 20-30 yard dink ball where the corner forward swiveling, maybe slightly diagonal, and then the danger, is that something you think Donegal need to work on, just in terms of how teams are setting up? If they come a bit further out than the arc, that we can puncture them with wee stab kick passes?
Yeah, I think so. Like they're like some of those kick passes, they tend to be taking the forward away from goal. Can you work it where the forward is running towards goal in that situation? And then maybe there's the shot is on. It is one of those things, and you look at it, and as something probably people have said is, we haven't been developing those players that are used to playing close to goal, and and maybe that is because of the way football has been in Donegal, and players are getting balled up, and there's you're trying to get your best ball players on the pitch, so maybe you're taking them out the field, and they're kind of drifting. But I suppose the way with Donegal, I think they are trying to create those one-on-ones out the field then, and there's so many people, even the likes of, Keelan McColgan, the cornerback, is if he sees somebody one-on-one, he's going to try and take him on. But I do agree with you. It's how do you get those inside men on the ball? Like Shea Malone got 2 great finishes the last day, when the ball was worked into him. But, it's definitely not. It's not an orthodox corner forward role that that you'll see Derek Hanavan playing or somebody like that. So I think it is something that Donegal can work on. As you mentioned, Jason McGee has been floating in about full forward. If you remember back to the start of the league last year, when Michael Murphy wasn't there for the first couple of games, it was Kieran Thompson was kind of in the top 3 a lot of the time. So I don't know if that's necessarily a tactic, or is it just about trying to get as many of the big players on the pitch to try and win kickouts? I would expect we'll probably see Jason in around the full forward line again at different times on Saturday night. So yeah, it's maybe hard to see where we're going with that. It's hard to call who will be the inside 3 on Saturday evening.
Definitely interesting, Brendan. That midfield battle that you mentioned there as well. Again, go back to the first half of the All-Ireland final where we lost. Midfield was a massive part of that. We just didn't seem to have the power out there and the necessary tools to really take it to Kerry. That looks like a sector. You mentioned Kieran Gallagher. It's obviously going to take a big man a bit harder to settle in coming in from the age, whereas all those lads that you mentioned, them young lads, they're very fast, quick, sprightly. They've all played on their age, so they're kind of nearly, they're good to go.
Yeah.
So working with him, you think of Jason there coming back in as well, the form of Hughie, 2-man in the matches there. So, all of a sudden our midfield options look really, really strong, and it would allow you then to throw, because there's something about Jason inside. Like big men sometimes with that lofted ball, and they can lose it a bit, or they might try and grab it, but Jason seems to have that way with him, that he's really good at snatching the ball, flicking it down. He's very good on the ball when he gets it, to make a bit of room as well for a big man.
Yeah, for a big man, he's huge skill level, so he has technically he's brilliant. I've watched him up close over the years, and
not to mention Langan, of course.
all the skills, absolutely, a Langan there too. But if you go back to the All-Ireland final, and we would probably be doing this for the rest of the year if you go back to the All-Ireland final.
Jim will be like, right boys,
shut up about it. Joe O'Connor dominated that midfield area for a period of time in the All-Ireland final. That gave Kerry the kind of power to go on, to drive on in the game, and not too many down in Kerry or on the country would have fancied. So it's going to take a bit of work to get him there, but certainly I think the raw material is there with Kieran to add that extra option, just to have that extra option, so you know that if you're struggling in them areas. Of course, big Keelan McGonigal is there too. So Donegal have the weapons in that respect. They have a lot of big men that are 6'3", 6'4", you know, in that area, and it's just getting the right mix and having the right options on any given day, because it's crucial, like, you know, to be able to retain your own kick out if you're forced to go long, and also to attack the opposition kick out, to put them under pressure if your price is right, that you can have the big men out in the middle of the field that'll be able to contest, and you can get your runners in, which Donegal have loads of too, kind of thing, you know, because of huge legs around that area, so they have. And you know, if you've that kind of balance, so you have the likes of Padder Morgan picking ball up from under Kieran Gallagher, Hugh McFadden, Jason McGee, and driving forward, you know, you have a great start, so you have, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Ryan, listen, I know Ryan was a wee bit before your time, but you've seen a lot of football. Ryan, can you contextualise, you know, Antrim had one of their strongest teams out against us, won easy. Whenever we stepped it up against Derry in the second half, you know, with a few experienced men coming in the park, we outscored them. Was it 140 a point? We took control of the game. We then sent on a load of subs, which disrupted our flow. It allowed Derry back into it, I think. And then Monaghan, of course, who are up to Division 1. Ryan, the way we dispatched them the last night, you know, what's your read on that there in terms of where we're at versus particularly Monaghan and Derry?
Yeah, like, I definitely think, you know, at this time of the year, we're probably a few steps ahead. But I think when those teams, you know, start to get back to full strength, I think you'll see them improve. Probably both Brendan, with the goalkeeping situation, and both like Rory Beggin's going to come back into Monaghan is going to make a huge difference. I think Derry are going to be under pressure until they sort their goalkeeping, you know, whether it's Oren Lynch or someone else. But I definitely think Derry look to be improved. Look to have a even more of the toughness back. Like, I wasn't surprised to see that wee flashpoint coming at half time the last day, you know, because they were, you know, they lost nearly all their games last year. They were probably too easy to play against. So they're going to try and get a mean streak back there. They've had a lot of underage success. You know, like we're chatting about underage or young players coming through. Derry are bound to have players they can bring through as well. So yeah, like I think, considering that the likes of Oisín Gallen, Michael Murphy, Sean Patton haven't been playing, like, I think, you know, Donegal have coped with it well. Whereas I think with Monaghan in the last day, like, I think you could really tell they were missing their Scottstown contingent, and I think when they come back, I think they'll be a much better team. Now, will they be good enough to take out Donegal? They had 2 goals out of last year and weren't able to do it, although they caused problems on both occasions. So I think Donegal are probably a step ahead of Monaghan and Derry at the moment, but you know, there is scope for improvement for both of those teams.
Do you agree with that, Brendan? Because as Ryan was saying there, you know, Monaghan's Costin, I know we're both missing, and maybe more important to them, some of those players. But I was just thinking about Derry, as Ryan said, they were winless last year. You know, they're at home. That was a massive game for them. Like, they really wanted to beat us. So the fact that, you know, Donegal kind of, when they stepped it up in that second half, like if I was in the Derry squad now in that camp, I'd be thinking, that's a bit of a worry there. Like, we want to be as good as these boys, or is it, as Ryan was saying there, we looked a wee bit of a step ahead? We
look in great shape physically. We look very fit and full of running. The work rate throughout the team.
That's not to worry about, Brendan, is it? It's just
no, it's not. I don't think so, Brendan. I think it's too early. I think if the shoe was on the other foot, we wouldn't be overly concerned if Derry had kind of ran out stronger on Wednesday night. Yeah. Or, of course, you want to go and win these games, kind of thing. But I don't think you'd be overly concerned, Brendan, because you know you have players to come back. You're experimenting at this time of year with different type players, and that's why it's been so positive from a Donegal point of view, that the experiment has been really enjoyable, so it has, through the 3 games, that the lads that have come in have really stepped up. But you know, I think Donegal can do is look at their own sort of side of things. And listen, we're going in against Dublin on Saturday evening. We don't know what Dublin put out kind of maybe 2 or 3 regulars in their team in the O'Byrne Cup there, you know, so we don't know what you're going to be coming up against Dublin. So all you can do is look after your own, kind of concentrate on your own kind of game and how you're developing that, and you know that the issues that you have solutions for them, and they seem to have them, Brendan. Like, you know, like Ryan mentioned, Sean Patton been out. Gavin Mulroney stepped in and did really, really well. Listen, Sean Patton isn't absolutely he's the top kicker in the country, so he is. But to have a deputy like Gavin Mulroney to come in, that he has trained with the team for the last number of years, so they have confidence in him. They know him. They are not concerned about, you know, their keeper behind them, which is a huge thing. So it is, you know, they know he can bang the ball out 60, 70 yards, and he also can get shorts away. So, you know, he's been working with Patton over them few years. So there are so many positives for Donegal to take out of that. I think they just concentrate on their own. Yeah, they look better than Derry and they look better than Monaghan. Like Monaghan brought on Ryan Miley, Desi Ward, Michael Bannigan, Stephen O'Hanlon too, you know, at half time on Saturday evening. But it didn't really make any difference because what Donegal bringing on the likes of Morgan and Ryan McHugh and, you know, these lads. So, you know, they kind of superseded what Monaghan had done, and it just shows that Donegal are ahead of them. I don't think it's a concern for Monaghan. I think it's just Donegal just going about their business. And, you know, at the top of the programme, Brendan, you mentioned about the All-Ireland hangover. Seems to be well gone. It doesn't seem to be anything lying there about it, like, you know.
Top stuff, as you said, on top of Gavin Mulroney, you know, Paul O'Hare obviously gone on has acquitted himself well. I'd say Max Campbell, Kieran Gallagher, Turlough Carr, Kevin Mulloon, Conor McCall, Shea Malone has 2 goals the last day, Shannon Carr, Owen McGean. All these lads are in
Mark
the mix.
Kern is another one too.
Mark Kern's another one, that's right. He's come back in the fray. Listen, all these lads, I think, have a part to play in our season, Ryan, and no doubt you'll be there. You're up at Croke Park. Are you staying up or are you going home early?
I would say I'll be going home early.
That's a married man with a baby now. He has to get back.
Glory days are over, Brendan.
Good man, Ryan. Listen, we'll see you up there, no doubt. Ryan, we'll be speaking to you as the season goes on. All right, man.
Have a good one, man.
Right.
Top man, Ryan. Back after a couple of minutes with the one and only Michael McMullan.
The DL Debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's Kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
Is fúine atá sé leictreachas a úsáid bhealach níos cliste agus níos glise. Ag Electric Ireland, táimeann seach an tróir a thuirteart. Le faisnéis fleanan na méidir cliste, tálaí EV agus panel chréine in our net zero hub nua. Déan dúsáid níos soléire, turis níos glise, baile níos teolaí agus saol níos giile. Tuilleadh eolais ag electricireland.ie.
Who's watching your home while you're asleep, at work, or on holiday? With the Sheridan Security Alarm System, you can be assured of round-the-clock monitoring. Our central monitoring station is on duty 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, monitoring homes and businesses in the northwest for intruder, fire, panic, and medical signals, giving you the peace of mind you deserve. Sheridan Security Systems, Bonagee, Letterkenny, protecting what you value most. Call us for a free quotation on 9126. 6025.
What did you use to get the edges so smooth?
The Screwfix app.
I mean, how would you do it?
I just clicked on the tool and picked it up.
No, I mean, what did you actually do?
I just downloaded it.
Right.
The Screwfix app will be your new favourite tool. Browse, check stock and get exclusive offers. And quicker collection when you check in on the app. Screwfix, no stopping you.
Welcome to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms in Donegal Town. Discover affordable luxury with our bespoke fitted furniture solutions. With almost 30 years of serving Ireland and the Northwest, we're your trusted experts. Visit us Monday to Friday 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. and on Saturdays from 9 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. Book your free consultation today on 074 9725822 or visit cherrymore.ie. Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, where affordability and luxury combine.
Level up your lunch this week at Dunnes Stores with great value recipes. Tasty chicken Caesar wrap made with plain tortilla wraps for only €1.09 and southern fried chicken goujons just €4.20. Or maybe you'd prefer a healthy tuna pasta salad bursting with flavour made with tuna chunks for only €1.10 and cherry tomatoes just 69 cents. Plus, you can save more with your 5 of 25 voucher. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used at next grocery shop.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
7:31.
The DL Debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's Kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
Welcome back, folks. We're going to look ahead to the football leagues that are starting this weekend again, and we have some brilliant games coming up. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by, that's the first day scenario, we'll get a few tongue twisters in there. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Michael McMullan. His friends call him Mal. Mal, welcome to DL Debate 2026.
No problem. Great to be back. I think the last episode we had was in Sister Sarah's. We should have recorded Santa at his antics.
Yeah, well, there's a bad Santa out there now. I wasn't part of that, but yeah, I heard there was a bit of fun going on with the bad Santa. Now he takes people astray. Mal, you don't need a lot of pushing though.
No, Oisín pushed me astray the last time I was down there just before the match. It didn't take place, so I was about to go home early and it ended up a late one.
It always does. That's what the crack is. Mal, tell me, fascinating leagues coming up here. Just looking straight away, where else would you want to start but Croke Park? And of course your own men Derry are in there, we're in there, double header on Saturday. You have the big game of Derry and Tyrone coming down the tracks after that. So listen, it's going to start with a serious bang here, and of course Meath, with all the background story to them last year. Aaron Kiernan has joined them, so use yourselves with the new Derry management. There's so much anticipation going into this year.
It's a great double header, and you get a chance then obviously to watch Donegal and Dublin after it, so I'm looking forward to it. And as you say, like, all of a sudden from Derry's point of view, you've got Tyrone coming the week after, and I think we all sound like a broken record at this stage, but when you've got 7 games in 9 weeks and 2 teams get relegated or promoted, there's absolutely no room for shadow boxing unless you end up safe, like at the top of Division 1. It's the only time where there's any real sort of off season as such during the league. But from Derry's point of view, lads, trying to get promoted is a massive ask. So 2 points would be, I would bite your hand off for them right now, to be honest, because it'll be a great start to get.
Yeah, it'll be a big start, Brendan. When you look at it now, I suppose you've Declan Boners for Fermanagh. We have some interest outside as well. Declan Boners for Fermanagh taking on Wexford. Of course, Mark McHugh's Westmeath. They're playing Sligo this weekend. So Galway Mayo from the Connacht men matching up. So listen, as Mal was saying there, like the league and the interest in the new rules, it's going to be another roller coaster ride going into these games, because no more than the club senior final, that late 2-pointer, there's so much drama now predicted with the 2-pointer on toe.
Yeah, it really is. Mal says too, we're looking forward to the commencement of the leagues, and obviously Donegal have a huge game away to the Dubs, and we spoke briefly before the break, Brendan, we don't really know where Dublin are at. We've been impressed with Donegal, so you'll be going up optimistic enough that you can get something up there, by all accounts. And you mentioned Galway Mayo. Galway just tripped over the line in the FPD final against Mayo at the weekend, so they did. But Mayo have a lot of good young footballers, so they have, and I would expect them to be thereabouts this year. They have a couple of players to come back. Conor Loftus back in the squad now, and Killian Connor, surprisingly enough, is back, kind of thing too. So he is, a few boys coming back. Matty Rowan out a bit more longer term kind of thing with an injury, and he'll be a loss because he's a big player for them in the middle of the park. But some really exciting games. I think if any team is going to struggle in Division 1 based on players that they've lost, you look at the likes of Donny Smith and a couple more that have gone from Roscommon. I think Roscommon, it could be a tough campaign for Roscommon ahead, so it could. Kerry
called the manager from within, Dowd fella. He was involved in different teams. He managed Roscommon in an under-21 title, I think, back in 2006 or something. But he's been involved in various backroom teams. So
yes, yeah. But it's it is going to be a big excitement, and particularly when you have to travel away back down to Kerry's for their first game, and they're home against Monaghan in their second game. That'll be a huge game, so it will for both them sides. Monaghan, we know what Monaghan bring to the table every year. We had 2 games against them last year, and there were scary moments, as we said, in it, kind of thing. 7 points down going in at half time, and we're thinking, where are we going here? But they'll always battle and fight. So Division 1, there's never much to call it. And Division 2 is very similar too. You go the whole way down through the divisions because teams are playing at their level, so they are. And everything, you're not going to see too many, hammerings, in the National League. You rarely do. If you go through the results any Monday morning, you see that they're kind of fairly tight, so they are. So exciting to be getting into it. And from a Donegal perspective, as I say, they can go in with a lot of hope into this league campaign, and hopefully see some more of these young fellas that we saw do so well over the past week, kind of thing. And McGuinness has put it out there that he just wants to develop a few players to have a few extra options to come in. Lost a couple of players off the panel from last year, kind of thing. And you're looking for players that can make an impact, so you are. And you know, hopefully from what we've seen so far that will translate, like, you know.
Yeah, and they also, Mal and his buddies poached Luke Barton. We'll get into that in a minute with Mal. Mal, just before we get into the Derry boys and your new management team, Dublin, Ger Brennan, Dean Rock, Dennis Bastick, Stephen Cluxton, quite a formidable experienced team. I mean, the amount of experience is about Dublin at the minute, it's unbelievable. But for Ger Brennan coming in there, he's obviously proven already, you know, Louth for the, was it 68 years or whatever for the Leinster one. So he's coming in, and I'm sure many people want a new, because Desi obviously inherited that unbelievable team, and there was always question marks about Jim Gavin. Do you think it's a fresh start now for Ger Brennan to build another, you know, one of those really, really top All-Ireland winning teams?
For sure, he's definitely the standout candidate. Like, once that became a vacancy, you just thought, well, he has to take it. He did a really good job with Louth, but I'm hearing good reports. I can't remember, it might have been on Willie's podcast, I'm not sure where it was, maybe Morris on the Examiner pod, but I think Dean Rock's level of coaching, I think it's gone down really well with the camp. Actually, see, between Dublin and me this weekend, they're keeping us very much in the dark. Like, Niall O'Callaghan, I think, is the only player that played a bit of football last year who got time during the World Cup, and I think Meath only used 3 players that played against Donegal last year. They took their first choice team away to play challenge games. So Kieran Mina and Jim McGuinness probably get into the dark a wee bit this weekend, because you don't really know what you're going to come up against. But the Dubs in Croke Park, and as we always find, Kerry and Croke Park are always difficult assignments. So that's what's going to face Donegal this weekend. But I've been very impressed with Donegal, I have to say. I actually said it to Ryan Ferry beside me in the press box. I think these young fellas is exactly what Donegal need right now. I'm looking across with a wee bit of envy, because you were chatting with the amount of minor teams we've had, but if you look back at last year's Macquarie Cup final, none of the Mahara boys are ready, but you have 3 of the Abbey boys are in, and then Ada and Rorty from last year. So whatever's been done in the school structure around Donegal, and whatever's been done to get the lads' level of conditioning up to speed, is brilliant. And I think this game is absolutely perfect for Donegal, because if Jim's talking down the lines of, he didn't use the words transition, but he's sort of hinting at it that way. Thompson's injured, McBrearty has retired. I think Oisin Gallen had an operation at some point, and we don't really know what the story is with Michael Murphy. So there's 3 or 4 spots up for grabs in the forward line, and potentially there'll be 1 or 2 available come championship time. So it's a case of, lads, get your hands up if you want to play. Yeah. And I think that's what makes this weekend really exciting for me, because I suppose I'm looking across the border into Donegal, because I would cover it quite a bit, and would have covered sort of, I suppose, Abbey and Four Masters over this past couple of years, seeing what they're going to bring. But at the same time, as you touched on, like Dublin, or like even the level of expertise in that management team, like, it's not as if there's some young fella in the Dublin panel who's cutting his teeth, he just has to look across the white line and he'll see about 1,000 All-Ireland medals, you know. So the boys know what they're doing.
Yeah. And Mal, just on your own management team, obviously the Loch McGrory crew have come over, obviously pulled off the magic in Tyrone. Mina obviously has won an Ulster already with Derry when he took over that year from Gallagher. You know, Luke Bardesay joining him again, Marty Boyle, who's won minor All-Ireland by Derry, you know, Chrissy McKeague's in. Is Benny Heard in as well, is he?
Benny's in, yeah.
I mean, that's a fair management team, Mal.
It is a fair management team. He's got, including himself, he's got 16 on his management team, and I think he's worked with them all before. And none of them, like Chrissy McKeague, is high profile from the point of view of what he has won as a player, and Benny Hearn will be the same. And Luke Parrot's probably high profile in the fact he was involved with Donegal on the way to an All-Ireland final. But by and large, it's all a crowd of lads who don't seem to have a whole lot of ego. They all seem to be in around the thing together. They're close. So that definitely does help. Kieran Amina seems to have built a management team where they all know each other really well and trust each other. So I just hope that's something that's going to be a good set of foundations, because I suppose Derry over this past couple of years has been a wee bit like sort of Man United, chopping and changing managers, and you don't really know where you're at. So now you've got a sort of a safe pair of hands with, I suppose, people underneath him, Brenton, that he knows what they can do. And for me, he's the man to take the job. I've said it on a few podcasts. I would love it if there's a Derry man managing Derry. Maybe that's where Chrissy and Benny Hearn follow down the line. But for now, with Kieran having worked in Derry basically his whole life in St. Colum's Draperstown, he's nearly half established. So definitely a very good man to have at the wheel. So fingers crossed we can get a few results, because last year was difficult. It was like therapy on here on a Monday night talking about football, just talking away your problems.
Hopefully it wasn't as bad as United. Now that's a tough comparison. Brendan, listen, just on the Derry management team, you know Luke Barrett very well.
Yeah,
you've coached together, and I know he has great time for you. Donegal haven't replaced him. You know, no one has come in to fill that void, and you know, certainly as you know from him, he's. You know, he would have been an integral part of the team. Are you a bit surprised at that?
I kind of am, to be honest with you, yeah, you know, because I think, you know, he would have played a huge role last year. He'd done a lot of the analysis. He loves it. Like, he's totally besotted with the whole Gaelic games thing. He's just obsessed with it. So he is. So he would put in huge hours. So he was looking at videos, doing all that kind of work. And yeah, I was lucky to work with him for 4 years with the minors and a year with the 20s kind of thing. And I would rate him a really, really good coach now. Very smart, very into it, like will leave no stone unturned, and passionate about it, and you know, has done a lot of studies in this respect too. In the back of it, he's done a master's.
He goes and does another one.
Yeah, but you know, these guys just he's sponge for information. So he is, and wants to keep learning and be a better, and aspirations to be a top coach. So he has. So it is a surprise, you know, that he left Donegal to go into Derry, but you can see it because he's a brilliant relationship. I know that he's a great relationship with Mina, and obviously the working, you know, what they did with Loch McGrory this year is huge too. So, you know, I think he will be a huge benefit to Derry. And you know, as long as it's not at Donegal's expense, you're okay with it.
There you go. A lot of secrets in there, Mal. Very, very careful. Mal, so for Donegal and Derry, Mal, just we're sticking with them. Obviously, the Tyrone game, I'd love to talk to you about when the next game up there, Tyrone, would be massive. But for Donegal, what do you think it is, Mal? Just like a lot of Division 1 teams, stay in Division, let these young players unearth, and for Derry, is coming up vital, do you think, or again is it a bit like Donegal, unearth and build a style of play in it? And I suppose on the back of last season, this just won some matches.
I'll start with Donegal on that one. I think freshness and competition for places is their number one ingredient, because you were talking about a Donegal hangover. I think the only hangover was the one I had on the Hardcore Hotel that next morning when we were trying to come to terms with getting home. But I definitely think freshness and trying to, you know, because if Jim's been there for 3 years and a lot of the players have been there for a lot of that, it's fresh faces they need. And I'm with Brendan Kilcoyne in this one, with the likes of Turlock, like that kick pass he put into Dara Wheel for a score in the first half against Derry. Like that could completely change what Donegal do if you've somebody that can do that. Now I know he's very inexperienced, but like that vision's there. So I actually said it to Jim after the game the other night, but he didn't really take me on. But I think the young fellas could give them something different. You know, I definitely do, because what they do at the moment is actually really good. Like it's got them to an All-Ireland final. I think they just ran out of man markers. They just didn't have the men to mark the men. So maybe Max Campbell scored a goal that pulled pulled four Masters out. Sorry, I get this right. Niamh Connell out of the fire that day in O'Donnell Park. Yeah. And then the other night, like Ethan Doherty is Derry's assists king, and he did a really good job on him. So Jim won't have missed that. So he might be the man to mark the playmakers come the summer. So he might have got a few more options. So that's where Donegal sit. And, you know, I suppose they've got that hurt. And Dara Wheel after the last game talked about they just had to park it, like they've literally parked it, and they have to. But to move it on, I definitely think that if he can, if come the end of the league and they sit down to have their debrief after the last league game, and they're able to sit down as a management team and say, if we're level with somebody in an All-Ireland quarter final and we need fresh men, have we got them? So can Shea Malone come on and do what he does with that 2-pointer he did in the county final? If he can find a wee bit of that, I think it'll be a league well spent. From Derry's point of view, I would say that promotion would be excellent. Relegation would be a disaster, because the last time Derry went down in the division, they ended up going to the very bottom of the ladder. I don't think that's going to happen, but I don't think it would be the end of the world if Derry didn't get promoted. To be honest with you, because they're probably slightly like Donegal in terms of they need new blood as such. But my biggest concern for Derry is when I left the Donegal game last weekend, like like there was 48 kickouts in that game, and Derry only won 18 of them. Now, albeit they only lost by 2 points, but they're going to have to get to the stage where if they don't have size in the middle, like they don't really have fielders as such. That's just the way it has been.
Yeah.
They're going to have to squeeze as much as they can out of whatever possession they have. You know, so that's the worry I would have for Derry going to Croke Park against the skyscrapers of Meath. And then if you look at Gavin Mulroney, did you say, Brent, he had 100% success rate in his kickouts? But he was kicking off left and right foot. I think he's a massive plus for them.
Yeah.
You know, and like Derry's lost over an inch. Ryan Scullion played against Antrim and was very good in his kickouts. Young McGuckin, who played against Donegal, got caught out a couple of times, but he didn't have an awful lot to hit, which would be a concern for Derry going forward. But as you're chatting there about Luke Barrett and Mina and the level of research they would do, unless they just didn't put anything out in the spotlight, because I was on the We Are Meath podcast last week and they were saying that Robbie Brennan was in Celtic Park last week. He wasn't happy just to watch it on YouTube. Yeah. So he was there to have a look at Donegal and Derry. So maybe from that point of view, that Derry just wanted to keep whatever wee bit of magic they had away from the cameras, which hopefully is the case, because the league is going to be very important for both sides. And I suppose to answer your question, I would love to get promoted, but if we ended up we're not promoted, I wouldn't be the end of the world. But winning games, blooding players, and getting back to the level of challenging for an Ulster title again, that would be where I would want to see it at. But the unfortunate thing is, as we all know, whenever you don't win a game last year, the keyboard warriors are never far away, and you lose a couple of games, and you know yourself, it ends up tricky.
I think it'll be a different season. I would have faith in them men involved, and I think it's probably no harm.
I would too, to be fair. I would too.
Probably better side Ulster draw as well. They could make a final. Listen, Mal, as ever, thanks so much, Michael McMullan, Gaelic Life, there for wrapping that up, that preview. Appreciate it.
No problem. Chat soon.
I'll chat to you soon. Right, Brendan Kilcoyne, top class. I'll be back after this break with Niall Cleary.
The DL debate with Sister Sara. Serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's Kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
You know that guy I've been seeing?
Yeah?
Turns out my sister's been seeing him too.
Oh, really?
And I heard he's been seeing Siobhan at number 56. And Declan.
Your brother?
Yep.
Specsavers opticians and audiologists own their stores, so your care is their business, which can make them rather popular.
I've got something to tell you. I've got half an hour with him this afternoon.
Specsavers. Your care is our business.
Ensure the safety of your team with SafeTech. We have part-funded courses in first aid, people moving and handling, confined spaces, food hygiene, quad bikes, fire warden, IPAF MUPS, electrofusion, welding and machinery cards for Ireland and UK sites. Also delivering online courses like utilities, water hygiene and construction supervisors. SafeTech can deliver group training at your business premises. To find out more, contact safetech.ie today.
Are you thinking about the CAO? Atlantic Technological University will host an open evening on the Letterkenny campus on Wednesday the 21st of January from 4 to 6:30 p.m. Enjoy a warm welcome from our lecturers, support staff and students, and tour the expanding campus. Attend talks to discover all you need to know about the CAO, student supports, managing exam stress and the transition to university life. Find out more at atu.ie/open days. ATU, your future is here.
That's the Clear Mobile Parrot. He knows a good thing when he hears it, because it's only
$12.99.
Yes, only $12.99 for unlimited 5G data and calls. Yes, there are texts, and that's why he's our top salesperson at Parrot.
$12.99.
Clear Mobile. Keep it clear. Powered by Vodafone.
$12.99.
Activation fee €12.99. 19 gigabytes UK and EU roaming data for terms. See clearmobile.ie/terms.
2 words that could derail the start of your day.
No milk. Ugh. Who finished the milk? Was it Jenny's overnight oats, Jack's protein pancakes, or one of Dad's late night cereal snacks? Ugh. And who put the empty carton back? Ugh.
For less.
Ugh.
And more. Sign up to mymilkman.ie and have fresh Avonmore milk delivered to your door. Mymilkman.ie. Fresh milk is just a click away.
The DL Debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's Kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
Yes, folks, welcome back to DL Debate, the final segment. We're on to hurling here with Niall Cleary. Niall, are you hearing us loud and clear?
Yeah, I've got you, Brendan. How's the form?
Good man.
To chat to you again.
Niall, 100%. Niall, listen, we spoke just last week. I sent you a couple of messages to be about, and you were informing me first before we get into anything that you're taking up a coaching role with Derry.
Yeah, that's it, Brendan. I'm in coaching Derry at the moment. I suppose I kind of had a bit of a relationship with Johnny McGarvey, the manager, over the last couple of years, and kept in touch with him and spoke to him around Halloween time last year, and so been in with them since in November last year. So yeah, really enjoying it. It's great learning from someone experienced like Johnny, and then you're working with top class players, players like Slaughtneil lads and Lavey lads who are going deep in Ulster, things like that. So yeah, really enjoying it so far.
Yeah, good man. And so that's you're up to Owenbeg a few times a week, a bit of trucking to be done for you, a bit of mileage.
It's not used to it, Brendan. I'm used to it because I'm about an hour from Satantania. I live in Dunfanny now, so yes. I'm well used to travelling for training. It's no different.
Yes, good man. And tell me that just from the pre-season comp, it was another tight Donegal Derry tussle that came down to the wire, and that last minute goal, Chris McNaughton crashing it into the net with a packed goal mouth. I mean, a nice way to win it, but what did you make of the game overall?
Yeah, I think it was, when both teams look back on it, they'll both be happy that it was a good competitive game. Like, they'll both be disappointed in certain aspects, but the main thing was to get both teams, I'm sure, wanted to get to the final, to get those 3 games and build it up to the league, and get a good competitive fixture. And when you're playing Donegal and Derry, it's always been traditionally kind of close the last few years. So same thing again, Donegal probably be disappointed in the end that they didn't see it out. Probably just maybe didn't put Derry away when they had the chances in the second half, and just, Derry just kept hanging in and finished strong then. And Christie obviously got the goal. He's a great striker of a ball, and he had one earlier in the game where the ref kind of took it back, but he finished this one well.
Your buddy Ger Gilmore was hitting the ground running as ever.
Yeah, he was brilliant. Problem is they probably need him in a couple of positions. He was moving about. He was out in the half forward line. He was inside for a while. Brilliant. He hit a couple of monster frees from 90 or 100 metres, couple of points from play. He's one of the top forwards in Ulster, definitely.
Yeah, and we were just chatting there, going into the new season there, and the more the Mickey, unearthing players and getting players in. He did mention just in his interview about conditions and that, and around possibly playing a couple of games in December to get you into the McGurk. Do you think that's a good idea in terms of trying to get out, or players, do they need to be in the new year?
It's difficult, like in Derry anyway. It's difficult because you have 2 or 3 teams going into Ulster campaigns, so it's difficult to get a full squad out, and you have injuries and then things. In Donegal, you had the same this year, like it's Satanta and Burke both in Ulster competitions in clubs. So I don't know if they would have had the numbers to be playing any more games in December, and boys coming off the back of club season trying to get right. I think the McGurk Cup is probably, in my opinion anyway, is probably enough. Now he's probably looking at that. He has new players in. They're down a few off the panel from last year, and he's probably trying to get them ready for the league and ready for the year intercounty hurling. So he probably looking at it from that point of view.
Yeah, and certainly, I suppose we were just chatting about the football. Donegal are up a division, Derry are one below. It's the opposite way around in the hurling. So listen, two big campaigns coming up for your own men and for Donegal in 2 and 3.
Yeah, it'll be big. I'm sure Donegal will be looking to get off to a good start if Tyrone away next weekend, and that's always a tough game. Like, Tyrone are really kind of physical, really in your face, honest team, always have been, and I think Donegal are probably a better hurling team. And if they can meet that kind of physicality and meet the work rate, I think they're a better hurling team. And if they can get off to a good start there, then the Fermanagh at home the following week, and all of a sudden you're looking up the table rather than looking down the table. So I know Mickey, he'll definitely be looking to get off to a good start next weekend and put them in a good position going into David break in week 3, I think. So he'll be looking to get 2 wins on the board early.
Armagh then at home after. So you've back-to-back home games, so I suppose that'll tell a big tale whether you're going to push for promotion for Donegal, in terms of if you can beat Tyrone, win those 2 home matches, then you're in a great position.
Yeah, all of a sudden you have real momentum built up behind you, and you're going into playing those what I would consider maybe tougher games against your Louds and your Wicklow's with a bit of confidence and a bit of momentum, and those younger players and new players who've come back into the panel have that confidence and exposure built up. So yeah, I think and the home games will be key, like you said, those two there against Fermanagh and Armagh in particular, really key games to be getting points in those games.
You have some tasty sides in your own division still. We've seen some, jumped up to the next level from some teams in that division, notably obviously Kerry's and Laois's, and you always know London can have anything over there in any given year. So it's going to be a campaign you're going to really have to hit the ground running very quickly now. Yeah,
Kerry at home, Celtic Park on Saturday now, so we'll be really targeting that one to get off to a good start. And then we've Laois away, which is going to be, exciting challenge playing teams like that. Laois have been in the All-Ireland series not too long ago. They've lost a couple of Joe McDonough finals in the last couple of years. And then Westmeath are in that as well. So you'd imagine Laois and Westmeath will be kind of the top two teams, and everybody else will be the chasing pack. You've Mayo there as well with all the Turin lads will be back, I'm sure. Meath, and like you said, London had a really, really strong team last year, beat Derry in that Christie Ring final, that top players from Cork, Kilkenny, but like you said, their manager's gone. You just don't know what you're going to get with London from year to year, so that'll be just watching games and figuring out at the start what way they're fixed. But it's an exciting challenge being in that division and playing that kind of level of hurling. But our boys have kind of played at that level anyway. You have the Schlockneen lads there who are going to that kind of top level every year. Lavey got to an Ulster final this year, so our lads are kind of used to playing at a high standard as well, so I'm sure they'll be looking forward to testing themselves even more. Yeah, and now listen, fair play to you. I think you're going to be a great addition to Derry, and then you'll come back to Donegal and you'll take us over then when you've done your time up in Derry. Is that the plan? There's no, Brendan and GAA and stuff like that. There's no plan. Not to put you in the spot. Not to put you in the spot. No, listen, 100%. Listen, obviously, no more than there's different Donegal lads coaching here, there, and everywhere. We'll be keeping a special eye out for them now that they're involved and they're in the background there. So, listen, I want to wish you all the best in the season coming up. Thanks, Brendan. Talk soon. Appreciate it. That's Niall Cleary there, just looking ahead to the hurling for the season. Always good to catch up with Niall. Coming up on the show now, coming up after the show, we have the one and only Paul and Trudy's here. The lovely Trudy and the lovely Paul. Joe Dex, thanks for producing. As ever, everybody, thanks for tuning in. We will keep the DL debate going. The new season to start.